So we're going to go ahead and print a 32 millimeter base. I brought a 32 millimeter base into Cheetahbox, and it is just a hollowed out 2 millimeter wall base, pretty standard stuff. What I like to do is tip these guys up. And when I do that, for this particular one, I go at negative 23 degrees. You can pick anywhere between 23 and 45, 46, something like that. The reason I like 23 is because I want this angle here to be a little closer to up and down for when we support it. At 45, for my taste, if I go negative 45, it's just a little extreme and the supports come on a little differently. I don't like that. So I like 23. Gentle enough so that the supports are good and tilted enough so that it doesn't risk pulling away. Now we're going to go ahead and support this. And this is where our magic comes in, okay? So we're going to say we're going to put it on a skate. We're going to do all the default settings. We are going to pick light supports. The type of support dictates how thick they are, not how many they are. So heavy supports doesn't mean more supports. The light supports doesn't necessarily mean less. Light just means smaller supports, and that's what we're going to use on this. Now, the one setting that I do tweak sometimes is this density setting at the bottom. It should be defaulted to about 50. Sometimes I'll bump it up to 60. After I have light supports selected, 60% density, then I'll hit add all. And there we go. We have our supports. And you can see right down here on the nose, we've got lots of them, and there are only a few that are contacting the front side of the base. Most of them are on the back side of the base because of the way we angled it. I could probably angle it a little less, to be quite honest. And then we've got our inside supports. All right, so what are we going to do with that? We're going to go back to the screen. We're going to pull a couple of my favorite tricks. We're going to pull this guy up right to the front. And at 23 degrees and my Mars 3 Pro, I know that I'm going to get 8 of these on a sheet. So I'm just going to duplicate. Yeah, sure, the bottom parts overlap, but you can see the models don't actually touch. So this is perfectly fine. And I'm going to just duplicate this guy out as many as I can get on one print. Now, if I take it to a 45 degree print, I can get 10 of these on a base, which is nice, on a base. At 23 degrees, I can only get 8. At 45 degrees, there's a little bit of cleanup. At 23 degrees, not so much. So if you don't mind a little bit of cleanup, take them up a little higher, get more on a plate. But for me, this is all I need. And I'm going to go ahead and go print this for you, and you can see how it turns out. So here we are with our finished bases. You can see they all printed just fine, no problems. I feel like live Cheetahbox. And all the supports were attached quite a bit. Now the bases aren't perfect. With any 3D base at a tilt, the sides get sucked in a little bit as they get pulled up off the plate. So you won't see a perfect base printed like this, but for tabletop quality and for just going on whatever miniature you're playing with, these are pretty good. Now I want to take one off and see how it looks and how much cleanup is needed. All right, one little guy coming off. Okay, now, not too bad on the cleanup side. I can feel just a few supports on the outside. I could take care of those with my hobby knife or not. Everything else is nice and clean. Of course, the classic 3D print on bottom. And she lays flat. I love it. Print away, guys.